Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Hello, hello, hello? Okay. We have one more session until our closing remarks, and then the long-awaited happy hour that we are all very excited for. So for our next panel, we're going to have our panelists come up, and you're stuck with Tom again.
Dogs. Okay, everyone. Some people going to the bathroom, some people coming back. That's okay. We'll go ahead and get started. This panel is going to be awesome, primarily because what we have represented on stage is private equity and how private equity thinks about content and social commerce, a notoriously numbers-driven industry. Integrating content, telling stories, building authenticity, building community. That's going to be awesome. And then flanked by Mackenzie, we have Meriel, who's overseeing social at a company called FreshPet, if you're not familiar. It's those big, beautiful, glowing fridges in every store. They have been on a massive upward trajectory since really you joined the company, which I have a feeling
Thank you.
Those two things are related. So we get to talk about the impact of content, the real impact of content, not the fluff, the realness. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Mackenzie.
Do we want to do intros?
Yeah, well, I guess we could do intros. Yeah, let's do some quick intros. Okay. I kind of gave a little context, but I'd rather.
You're right.
Yeah, but give the full one.
I'm Mackenzie. I work with WM Partners. It's a private equity group that owns a bunch of different better for you wellness brands. So I work directly with the CEOs and CMOs on their marketing programming, making sure that they have the best tools, tech, agencies, resources to make their marketing programs come to life. And a lot of that crossover is creators. So definitely always hitting you guys up.
Few of the brands you'd probably recognize: Vega, Great Lakes Wellness. What are a few of the other?
Jade Leaf Matcha. Everybody
of
loves
course,
matcha,
Raw
right?
Sugar.
Raw Sugar hair care.
Some great ones.
Some greats.
Yep. Okay, your turn. Diesel's mom.
Diesel's mom. That's my dog. I have the best job in the world. I get to talk about dogs and cats all day, and we were saying I should have brought Diesel. I just adopted a English French bulldog, and he's very attached to me, and I live in Florida, so he's very upset he's not here. But on that note, I've been working at FreshPet for a little over 8 years, heading up our social media, really building our social strategy, overseeing organic and paid social. And like I said, getting to talk about dogs and cats all day. If you don't know what FreshPet is, it's a refrigerated pet food company to kind of build up the pet food industry for the past 20 years and really introduce why fresh, healthy food and refrigerated food is the best for your dog or cat. I have a fun job. This is exciting.
We probably should have had a picture of Diesel on the actual slide.
I FaceTimed him this morning.
My
husband tried to FaceTime me. I said, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to see the dog. I love him, but
seriously.
Seriously.
Okay, Mackenzie, to you first.
All right.
All right, working within a PE portfolio, how do you position content and creators overall as being a strategic part of the puzzle?
Yeah, and I think that this could be really relevant for a lot of the brands in the audience, because you guys are all reporting to CEOs, and maybe they are reporting to ownership groups, whether that be holding companies, VCs, PEs, whatever. And I think that the best way that I frame it to PE leadership is about risk. Just like you would never put all of your eggs in just one basket for a brand for sales. You don't want to be 100% on, no offense, Amazon, no offense, Voyager Group. That was a wonderful talk you guys just did. But you wouldn't be 100% on just one channel. You wouldn't be 100% on a media mix either. So I kind of frame it as, two sides of the same coin. So you definitely need creators as part of the mix. So it's a financial imperative.
Yeah, and you talked about it being a diversification play as well.
Definitely. So
it's great framing.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Over to you.
I would say from the FreshPet side, I really frame creator content and UGC content as trust-building content and a way to connect with pet parents versus social content. I think over the past even 5 to 6 years, the relationship with our pets has increased dramatically. They've become part of our family. I would say some secret sauce or not so secret sauce at FreshPet is I'm really, really strict on making sure nobody ever says pet owners. We don't own our pets, we're pet parents, because again, they have a seat at the table next to us. So by partnering with Cohley and being able to make creator content, we're able to bridge that gap between pet parents and creators. Really, that identity is one and the same. I'm able to sell it to leadership and talk about it because the storytelling is there as a pet parent. At the end of the day, the choices that people are making for their pets is so deeply personal, and so being able to connect on a creator level as a pet parent with the right audience is key for us in reaching the right audience.
Yeah, I was just thinking about parallels with homeopathic medicine that you might give your kids. Dog food is really not all that different. So
Dogs and babies, I'd
Yeah,
say. I mean, it's
dogs and
tangible
babies.
benefits, right? If your dog's eating your food, if they have energy, if their coat's shining, those are the tangible things that you look for. And your dog and your child trust you to make that decision for them. They can't make it for themselves. And in a lot of ways, dogs are replacing children, and they are your child. I consider Diesel my child, whether I work at FreshPet or not. So it's such an important decision maker, and one that's really, like I said, deeply personal. And I honestly take very seriously in everything that we do.
Trust is like totally, I mean, it
It's the
goes hand in
currency.
hand for wellness as well. I mean,
Totally.
you're not only talking about, your regular people that are like, oh my gosh, this had a really big impact on me. Like maybe I'm going through perimenopause and that really helped me. So it's like that personal aspect, but also you want to hear from doctors who are also creators now. Like that whole community, doctors, physicians, whatever level of, medical practitioners, they are also creators now. So you also have to factor in
Totally.
that sort of community. So there's so many ways.
one thing I've always appreciated about FreshPet's positioning specifically, and we talked about this on our prep call, but you've been able to walk a really nice line between education and overall just explaining why fresh dog food is healthier and better, but you at the same time don't guilt trip people who maybe feed their dog more traditional kibble, for example.
100%. I always say we're all just doing the best we can at the end of the day. So I never want a pet parent to feel ashamed for what they're doing. I just want to introduce that there's a better way maybe to feed your pet, but what you're doing is not necessarily wrong. We all have to do it, make the best choice that we think is best for our own personal needs, finances, whatever it is. But I just want to make sure that people know about FreshPet, and it's a two-way street. Approachable, I guess, is the best way to think about it in terms of content. It's not just what you're putting out there, but it's the conversations you're having online as well.
During our prep call, we talked about this concept of creator mapping, which I thought was really interesting. It was interesting to hear you two riff on this concept. I think a lot of times people might see a creator post or influencer sponsorships across social and think like, oh, what this brand probably did is they created a product, they built a marketing strategy, and then the last step was finding a few influencers who fit that. That's not how you think about creator mapping at all.
No, and I could start first. I can say that it is actually pre-product conception.
Right, even
You're thinking
pre-product.
of the product. So I know, like, here's an example. Like, if you are a matcha girly, you absolutely love matcha. And me, working at the matcha brand, I'm thinking, okay, I've got all my matcha girlies. What do they want to see next? Or I've got this creator profile in mind. I know people are really liking pistachio right now. So is that the next, launch for us? You're already thinking of creators, and then you're thinking, okay, how's that creator bringing that to life? What do those video concepts look like? You're thinking about it before the product is even in the market.
Yeah, how do you think about it?
Yeah, when you said product and market, it made me think of the fact that actually product inception and ideation, the creator is part of that conversation.
Totally.
Because again, this goes back to creators are pet parents are creators. So now I would say one of the biggest trends we're seeing, or what pet parents are looking for, is customizable dog food or pet food. And so the way we're able to kind of approach that from a creator lens is looking at like what are the different health benefits that might be beneficial to the pet parent, which in this case is the creator. So we've introduced, for example, the past few years, a recipe for small breed dogs. Maybe a lot of dogs these days are kind of getting up into their senior years, so we have healthy aging, and then we also have sensitive stomach and skin. So providing recipes that will meet the pet parent, like I said before, where they're at is important. And then also from a brief standpoint, when we work with Cohley, our briefs are broad for a reason because, again, every pet parent has a unique story to tell. So it's not my job to say, here are the 10 to 12 laundry list things that you should be saying in a 30-second ad. That is so fake, at least from a FreshPet, like pet parent side of things. What I want people to do is find what works for them within their unique story. For example, if you have a senior dog and you notice that they're having trouble getting on and off the bed or walking around and things like that, make the content that they're producing natural to the flow of their own life. Maybe it's convenience. There are so many avenues within the pet food space that you can take and you can talk about from FreshPet, so it's not my job to tell them what to do. It's my job to facilitate the brief and let them find the natural lens and the storytelling lens for that piece of creative within their own life.
That's really, really well said. Let's talk about, so this is a theme that comes up all the time, talking to clients, talking to prospective clients, talking to the market. This idea of marrying quality with scale and actually sticking to a brand ethos while at the same time keeping up with the immense content demands that you both face. Right, I mean, it's a really hard thing. So we talked about this concept on our prep call of falling into this trap of just becoming a soulless content factory where you lost everything you've stood for. Right.
Scaling for scale's sake is just not the way to go. I mean,
right.
I loved all the people that were like, we did, 200 briefs with Cohley this month. Maybe that's, great for your brand, but for a lot of brands out there, I think that it's better to be smart about your scaling and choose what you're willing to invest in first to prove out a concept and then let the scale take over from there. So like what a lot of other panelists had mentioned already was, find what's working and what is giving you that signal within the first 24 to 48 hours and then do your scaling from there. Don't just start a program to plan to scale from day one. Choose what you're going to be smartly scaling.
Is that how you think about boosting as well?
Yes,
okay.
yes. So if you see an organic thing, like an organic post pop off, don't just boost it from day one just to boost it. Like, give it, 24 to 48 hours. See how people are commenting, seeing what the sentiment is. Because even if it's getting a ton of likes, maybe it's getting a ton of negative comments too, and you don't want to boost that. So you got to see. You really do have to take a look.
Jeff made that comment earlier. I thought that was really thoughtful. Like, hey, creators, I can't promise that we're going to boost your post, but we are going to continue to put fuel behind the ones that are performing well.
If it's popping off, I'm going to support it.
Yeah.
Let it marinate. See how it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's see.
And also, there's a chance it might perform after that as well. So you do want to give yourself, flexibility with the creator because it could maybe, because the algorithm sometimes serves you content maybe like 12 days later than after it was posted.
Right.
Then it starts picking up. You want to have that flexibility with the creator to then go back. You don't want to just boost it from day one.
Meriel, I believe you said broad briefs are intentional. So you obviously, again, you want to give creators room to create, to be true to themselves, talk about the role as a pet parent. Where do you draw the line boundary-wise, and when do you start to get uncomfortable from a brand safety or maybe even a compliance standpoint? You can't say your dog is going to live to be 100.
Forever and ever. That would be the dream,
That's only
right?
Diesel.
Yeah, that's only Diesel.
Well,
He's only 3. He's going to live forever. I would say that is where we kind of put kind of the education factor up front within our briefs so that then the creator feels comfortable kind of going down their certain path they're looking for, and kind of a little bit to touch on what I said earlier about broad briefs are intentional and letting the creator find their own path. I also think of that in the same way for a funnel approach when it comes to creator content. Like you have, your top line funnel where you're looking for that stop the scroll content, then maybe you're moving into more of that like product educational side, or maybe if you're partnering with, like you said, doctors, in our case, veterinarians, that might be your middle funnel. And then as you're moving down to the lower funnel, you're looking for those pet parent testimonials, which I would say are probably the most common that come through within the creator lens, because again, pet parents are giving their real life experience working with FreshPet and using FreshPet and using it in their daily life. We work as best we can to work with creators that already use FreshPet and already incorporate it into their pet's life. So I would say in terms of guardrails, while my brief is broad, my brief is detailed in terms of being
That's the key.
in terms of
Right.
education about the brand. And then I was chuckling to myself a minute ago because sometimes I feel bad for Lee because I'm very specific about what I'm looking for in terms of like a archetype of pet parent. I just kind of feel like at this point, Lee and I had a conversation over lunch where she's like, I think you just know what works now, which is true. So just kind of finding those pet parents that while we all outwardly care about our dog's well-being, they might go sometimes the extra mile in terms of health and nutrition, I think is really important. But at the end of the day, I stress less about guardrails because I promise it's not a Cohley plug. And one, I know that working with Cohley, we're going to get the right creators. Yeah,
all
we're going to
family.
get the right creators, and we're going to work with the right creators because that's why we work with you guys, because we've already vetted them. And two, if we set ourselves up for success with a brief, then I'm not stressed about where it's going to go because I know the road that it's leading is the right fit for what we're looking for. So I was kind of rambly, but
No, that was great.
hopefully that answered your question.
Let's stick with you for a second.
Okay.
So, since you've started, it seems as if social content has gone far beyond just living on social feeds.
Yes.
It's making an impact all over the place. Have you had to fight internally to push this content to different avenues or different moments of the consumer journey, or was that something that was understood top down, like, hey, trust authenticity is best represented by this type of content, we need to have it everywhere?
What you just said, the latter, trust, authenticity,
Yep.
is ingrained in everything that we do.
Great.
Again, not a plug for FreshPet, but I feel like I'm very lucky at FreshPet because my senior leadership trusts my decision making and trusts the decisions that we make in terms of the types of content, whether it is truly paid social branded creator archetype, UGC style, or maybe it's, again, boosting an organic social post that goes viral or has the potential to go viral for virality. Oh gosh, I hate that word. I can't believe I said that. But anyways, but it's true. I feel like there's a lot of trust there. We actually did a campaign, I think, in 2025 about kind of something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is give the gift of fresh. I couldn't figure out how to crack it for a little while, probably for like a year or two, because I didn't want to feel like we were like selling pet food for the holidays. That literally is cringy just thinking about, because I want to make sure that when we're speaking to potential pet parents and consumers that we're kind of talking about the gift of lasting wellness and lasting health. It's not just a moment in time for the holidays. So on that note, we worked with Cohley to create a campaign archetype that evolved around the gift of fresh. And then from there, creators took the lens that made sense for them within their own families and their own landscape. And it was probably one of our most successful campaigns in Q4, which is extremely hard to do, as we all know, because trying to make your content successful in Q4 is so hard because everyone's saying the same thing or trying to, right? And everyone's like spending their ad dollars at the last minute. So I'm really proud of that campaign. But in terms of leadership, I feel very confident in that when we have the right foundation and the right measures in place and who we work with, the trust speaks for itself and the content speaks for itself.
Mackenzie, you talked a lot about stage specificity when we're talking about reporting up from a metric standpoint.
Totally.
Would love to hear you talk a little bit more about that, because obviously you need to be able to frame this to, I'm just picturing, a lot of vests, a lot of Patagonia vests in the private, in the private equity office. How do you break it down from a stage of the funnel standpoint?
I think it's totally knowing your audience. So if you're going into a group where maybe you're reporting to marketing leadership at the PE level, yes, you can get into the campaign specifics, you can get into the ROAS of it all, the click-through rates, all that jazz. But if you're going into a room where they're just banking guys, yes, they know finance, and they want top level how things are going, you need to speak with them at the campaign level. You can't get super in the weeds about, all the different, videos that you ran, what was working, what you tested, the A and B of it all. You do actually have to say, much broader, and I kind of think of it as the qualitative versus quantitative. When you're with your marketing people, you can really go into the quantitative nuts and bolts of it, but when you zoom out, you do have to do quantitative and qualitative. So you're saying, oh, we did this campaign with Cohley, we worked with, 200 creators, this is the lift that we saw, across D2C. Is the lift that we saw to Amazon, and overall sales for that period increased X%. Guys, at the end of the day, it always comes back to sales. But and while you can't always prove that was attributed, correlation does sometimes equal causation. So you do have to make your case. Like, we did all this social programming and sales lifted. You can't discount that.
Yeah, fascinating. I know I keep on harping on this private equity perspective and how you manage it, but if you could go back to your sort of earlier days as a marketer when you were just cutting your teeth in this space, like, what would you tell yourself, that version of yourself then, knowing what you know now about like being able to explain value across the funnel, value on the bottom line?
Invest in Apple, yeah.
Right, yeah,
I would do a lot of
yeah,
things.
exactly, yes.
Yeah. I would say that if I had to go back in time, I would say do not discount organic. I actually do feel like organic was kind of like on the outs for a while because, paid and growth marketing was like the shiny penny that everybody kept focusing on, whereas those that continued to beat the drum with a very unique, very compelling organic story are now the ones that are absolutely killing it. And so I think that is the one thing is like, don't get distracted by the shiny ROAS and fun metrics that are really fun to focus on day to day. Me being one of them, but also keep in mind the bigger picture and the bigger creative picture as well, where creators with Cohley come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you have 50 ads out there at one time and someone goes to your organic social page and they see you haven't posted in weeks, or maybe you posted some
or they see that you just don't really have a POV. Like you're just like, I don't really know
or
what
there
you
are a
stand
ton
for.
of comments and you're not engaging as the brand. Why would they think that you care about them? So again, talking consumer content and creator content and anything you put out there is a two-way street. Mm-hmm. I talk about that all the time. I'm really, I would say, like, sensitive about making sure that we're always not only responding to all of the comments, but taking time to respond in a thoughtful manner is so important. Like,
don't just outsource it to your CX team. You can tell.
Yeah, 100%. If it seems like a copy and paste, like, again, for us, like, pet food and dog food is such a deeply personal thing. So knowing not only that someone cares about their dog and what their dog is eating is so important, but also taking the time to have those conversations. Like, we get, I think something I actually miss about doing organic social, because I have an amazing team member, Carson, shout out, who's not here, who does organic social now, is having those like open dialogue conversations with pet parents. Because as we know, like, show of hands, I was showing you, Tom, like, most of my photos on my phone are of my dog, right? Who else, right? Your dog or your cat. Exactly. Or maybe your background. So people want to talk about their dog or cat all day, and they should, because they're like the love of your life. So you want to have those two-way conversations with people online. And so it's not just about what you're putting out there. It's, again, that's the start of the conversation. It's keeping that open dialogue back and forth is extremely important.
Let's talk about in-store strategy briefly. We talked about during
How much time do you have?
23 minutes and 1 second.
We're doing good.
It's kind of nice to have that, right? Let's talk about, path to purchase influencers, specifically to support, regional retail launches, national retail launches.
I was just going to say, this is going to sound like such a shameless Cohley plug, but like, really every stage of the retail journey can be solved through Cohley.
That's what we're trying to do.
I know, and you do it so well. So really, I think that like the biggest things you have to consider is like when you are launching in retail, maybe you just got that bid with the buyer. They're like, great, now you're in our line item. Now, day one, you've got your P2P to consider. You need creator content for that. Then after that, you've got to do like the e-com experience and reviews. Working with Cohley on, day one, you should have probably 50 reviews and they should be positive, so that way people go to this new launch and they see like, oh my gosh, I actually really like it. And then after that, then you get into like, yes, the e-com, but then the in-person. Like, can we drive creators in-store to create in-store content, leverage that not only for organic, but then boost it, and maybe you show the buyer a little love, boost it, and with an or
sales teams do appreciate it. Yeah.
Sales teams, they really do. And then you also work with, I'm not sure how many creators with Cohley are like the retail specific accounts, but you also have to have the retail specific accounts too. Like, I remember when I was working with you guys for for Biome, we really wanted like the Target over everything. So Target
the
takes my
Costco loyalist,
paycheck.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
all of those accounts, buyers are obsessed with following them. So I would really think of it as like there's so many creator stages, like once you're in retail, that you absolutely need to invest in.
And for FreshPet, yeah, I mean, I mentioned this in my intro spiel about the company, but
We're obsessed with the.
yeah, we are kind of obsessed
We
with
are.
it. Talk about the role that in-store plays, knowing that you have this large network of refrigerators that, by the way, a lot of other frozen products have tried to get space in, but can't because they're yours.
Yeah,
Right.
on that note, so a fun fact about FreshPet, if you don't already know, maybe I'm the only one nerds out, but thank you guys for nerding
we're
out on this
obsessed.
as well.
Oh, we're fired up about it.
We actually own all of our
We're
own
like, can we
fridges.
invest?
We own all of our own fridges. So that's something that's unique about us is that we own the shelf space. We were talking in our prep call about if your product is too high or too low on a shelf, no matter what you do, you might not ever be seen. But the great thing about FreshPet is that since we own all of our own fridges, we own that space. We own how we're going to appear within our own fridge. So we service all our own fridges. We sell them into retailers. We're moving into multi-fridge expansion. So I would say in a lot of ways, some people might see that as like just an operational cost, but how I see it on the social side is it's a brand building experience and it's a way to be a destination versus just something that you're passing by. And I would say like I mentioned, we're looking at a lot of our stores have like two fridges. We're moving into the 3 fridge to 4 fridge area, depending on the retailer. So we're really trying to make fresh pet food the destination, not just somewhere where you just go and then the fridge just happens to be there. So we're really lucky, and I would say, our co-founder, and that was something that that was really important, is that they owned our fridges outright from the beginning, so that we do own that competitive space and we are able to make our stamp within the pet food space. Now.
I'm literally obsessed with the fridges. I told her on the
Thank
call,
you.
I was like, to have that consistent like height and like where it is in store is
Brand placement.
insanely beneficial. Like, I don't know how many other brands have had the issue of like you want to drive creators in store and then you find out like the planogram for that store is like at the bottom shelf.
Here's your tiny corner at the bottom.
And then the creator's like bending over like, oh my gosh, I love product on floor here. And it's just like, oh no.
This bag of cookies. Yeah, you're moving on.
So,
Yeah,
that's such an unlock.
100%. I totally agree.
Okay, let's wrap on this question here. What are you most excited about over the next year from a growth opportunity standpoint? You're gonna say TikTok Shop, aren't you?
Am I that transparent?
I want to hear all about how you're thinking about it.
Okay. I think that TikTok Shop cannot just be looked at as a conversion channel anymore. Like, we are seeing probably like 30 to 60% halo lift on Amazon and other channels. So it is like a really special channel where you get both an acquisition and an awareness, like all in one place. And you can really like double your budgets there if you really want to like go after more of, acquisition, more of awareness, what have you. But I just think it's so undervalued. And I actually learned something new. You guys, help with the reviews for TikTok Shop, so I'll be hitting you up after this as well. More business I'll throw your way.
Great. Great.
But yeah, TikTok Shop's super bullish about it, just for any brand. Like, sometimes people think like, oh, well, my product is really high ticket, item.
Yeah.
So that's not TikTok Shop. No, everything is TikTok
How
Shop.
would you respond to, I think someone mentioned earlier that it can be really hard for brands when they're kicking off on TikTok Shop and they just don't launch with a ton of success, or maybe they have a ton of success in month 1 and months 2, 3, 4, 5 are just like a total dud. You oversee a ton of brands in a very diverse portfolio. How would you respond to people who are concerned about that or experience that?
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I represent evil private equity that like tells you that your budget is only X amount. I get it. Like, you have to justify like your dollars at the end of the day. However, I think that there's different ways to spin it. But that initial investment is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of smaller brands. I would encourage you to take the leap of faith, because you will see not only conversion, but also awareness and conversion on other channels.
Well said. What about you?
I'm sure our e-com team would answer this differently, but I'm actually really excited about the retail side, going back to the fridge side, and specifically how we can create more UGC creator-like content to talk about the convenience aspect of FreshPet. So leaning into the retail-specific needs. I'd say I've seen kind of a cyclical trend. While direct-to-consumer and social in terms of TikTok Shop and other needs has its place, since we are refrigerated and we are an in-store destination for the most part, I've seen a trend back to retail and back to in-store shopping. I almost think that people got a little bit of fatigue in terms of kind of ordering groceries and things like that. I know it has its place, but I think going in store and shopping in store has become enjoyable again. We find it as like an outlet, and FreshPet is available where you shop for your groceries or where you go in terms of a mass retailer experience like Walmart or Target. It's there where you shop, no matter your experience and what you're looking for. So I'm excited about the expansion within that UGC creator world and showing people that the convenience aspect for FreshPet is there, and it's actually right where you're already doing your everyday shopping.
I totally agree. IRL.
Yeah. Meriel, when you think about competition, do you primarily think about the competition with like Hills, more legacy pet food type of companies, or do you have a bullseye of Farmer's Dog with a little dartboard in your office?
Neither. I think about myself. I'm just kidding. I honestly just think about the story that we have to tell. We've been around for 20 years. We've been since 2006. So I would say I'm just really confident in the growth that we've had. And I try not to focus too much on what else is out there, because again, that's when you get sucked into the sea of sameness. I try to focus on, again, the relationships I'm building with consumers. I know we have an amazing product and an amazing breadth of portfolio. So now it's about making sure that everyone else knows about that and knows the benefits and the ability to shop our products and introduce that into the life with your pet. So I'm honestly, I promise I mean this when I say I'm not concerned with what others are doing. I know what they're doing, but I know what we have works, and what we have is wonderful for your pet to help them live a long and healthy life. So I'm less concerned with what else is out there and how can I make sure that I'm getting our message out to others.
Do you see this this component of community and
Yes.
real people talking about the products, like commenting on actual social posts? Do you see that all the time
Yes,
too?
I can literally think of 5 to 7 people who I have conversations with, because I still regularly check in on within our social channels and have them with consumers. Susie, Betty, Katie, literally, I'm not going to say their last names obviously, but I can think of the open dialogue that we have with our consumers and how much we deeply care about their pets and making sure that they're, getting the best food possible. And I'm truly not just saying that. And I think that's why I have been at FreshPet for so long, because I believe in what we're doing and I believe in being able to change the industry. And I know that what we've done over the past 8 years since I've been there is just the tip of the iceberg. And so I probably sound like a broken record, but I'm just really lucky to be able to do what I love to do. And also I'm able to see it have a direct and lasting impact on the dogs that I've been able to have in my family as well.
But I bet you they love that. Your customers are creators, and you do actually have to treat them as such.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Because they're gonna be blowing up your feeds all the time.
100%.
And if you treat them like the queens that they are, they will repay you in content.
I totally agree.
Well said. How do you think about community with the brands under the WM Partners umbrella?
I think that it kind of piggybacks off that a little bit. It's very similar. It's like this hybrid community that you have to build between your customers and then also creators as well. So we are building a brand ambassador community for our collagen brand. And so we are recruiting all the moms out there, all of that jazz. And yes, that's our existing community, but it's also other creators. And we're hosting coffee pop-ups. We're giving them, custom merch. We're really making them feel special, because we know in the long run that LTV payoff is going to be immense.
Fantastic. This was awesome, you two. Does anyone have any questions? Right in the front.
Thanks for staying before happy hour. I remember 10 y'all stayed just for us, by the way.
They did.
Hi, my name is Diana. I have a question about creators, actually. So how does selection works? So if a brand request to do like some content for them. So is it absolutely automated? So brand is just like selecting from a pool, or the brand is consulting with your team of who would be like the right fit for them?
Not automated for us, so everything's very manual, probably again to the, sorry Lee, because I probably ask a lot of questions within our Cohley account. So specifically, I look for variety, a certain age demographic, variety as in male and female. I would say we skew female, but of course I want to make sure that we're represented overall. And then just again, there's different demographics. So I might be looking more for millennial based. I might be doing more content based with like Gen Zers sometimes, or even boomers. And then from there, Cohley looks at kind of, again, multi-dog households. Sometimes I've done a campaign where I want to do like some of our larger recipe formats so they can serve like our 6-pound rolls or our larger bags. So I might serve like a larger family in terms of the number of dogs or cats. And then from there, they're just smaller little archetypes. Maybe they prioritize health and wellness or fitness, or maybe again, I'm doing a campaign that talks about busy lives of moms and incorporating FreshPet into their life. And then Cohley looks through their creator pool. They put the brief out there, and then those people respond. And then from there, I literally manually go through and like pick the number of creators that I want to work with, and look at their sample content and find different niche fits for the variety of needs that I'm looking for. So I make sure I have kind of a well-rounded group of people, I guess, best way to put it.
Same, extremely manual.
Oh, since I'm the client, I would say from what I'm picking from, like 20, and I pick like 8 to 10 at the most, sometimes as little as 5. It depends on how quickly I need the content. But I think for this round that I'm in, I'm picking like 7 or 8 at this point. Again, it really just depends on the amount of budget and what I'm looking for at the time. It could be more, could be less. Sorry, not trying to be vague. I can totally talk to you after too.
No, completely same, very manual. I think it all depends, like you said, on the budget level, because sometimes your budget level determines what types of creators that are in your pool, first of all, and then from there, you know, get your demographics that you need. Like, for example, our collagen brand, they're all about, you know, women over 30 who, you know, need better for you options in their life for whether it's hair, skin, nails, or, you know, things like that. So then you go into, okay, well, what creators are talking about hair, skin, and nails? That's where your profile, like just making sure your profile shows all of those niches that you are able to tap into. That's just where it's super beneficial.
I would say the other thing I forgot about is that maybe a dog has like a chicken allergy or something, and the products that we're wanting to talk about feature chicken. So I'm like really cognizant and conscientious of making sure the recipes that we want to talk about fits the dog's needs. Most of the time it does. And again, the first, what I'm looking for is hopefully they've used FreshPet before or know about it, but ideally they're already using FreshPet, which I would say most of the time they are. And if not, maybe they've used another fresh food format or things like that. But again, finding the needs to make sure it fits for their lifestyle too is important based on what we're trying to talk about.
Anyone else? Okay, let's turn it over to Eric and Michelle. Thank you so much, you two.
Thank you guys.